ladies and gentlemen, to the news at 11. Well, thank God it's Friday and it is not a very, very bright day today, but it's still looking very good out the window. Good to see that, the number of cars on the roads are controlled and the number of people out and about is minimal. So, well done, Queenslanders. We've done very, very well. What have we done? So there you go, looking at the coronavirus cases. New cases in the local acquired are 10 and other sources 0. Active cases 132. And in the past 24 hours, we've done 48,028 new tests, which is quite good. So the number of active cases 132, which brings the total number of confirmed cases here to 1,896. And the recorded deaths have been 7. And patients recovered is 1,727. So that is good news. So well done, Queenslanders. Let's take a quick look at the other scenario of the numbers. So on Friday, 6th August, coronavirus cases in Queensland, 10 new locally acquired cases, all the facts and figures that we went through, and 48,028 tests that were there. Well, sadly, 7 people with COVID-19 have died. 1,727 patients have recovered. So keep up the social distancing, good hand hygiene. If you are unwell, stay at home and immediately call your GP or 13 Health, which is 13432584 to arrange for a test. And also keep checking Queensland Health's website for testing locations nearby. And that website is up on your screen, www.qld.gov.au/COVID-19 testing. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the good news for today. As we know that moving forward into the weekend, we're looking forward to Sunday when the restrictions could hopefully be lifted. And it is, again, we have to see what happens for the rest of today and tomorrow, of course, and of course, whole of Sunday we've got till that announcement late on Sunday. And I think everyone's looking for a very productive week ahead of that. But as you will see from this live segment, for now, of course, this happened a little while ago at the Parliament House. Some of you might have missed it, some of you might have already seen it. So here's the update from Queensland Parliament.
We're waiting on a... Okay.
Yeah.
That's
fine. Still ready.
Okay.
Get ready to go. 3, 2, 1 now. 15 seconds.
Okay.
Some of the reporters taking time to set up. We are ready.
Good morning, Queensland. We've received more encouraging news at our daily pandemic meeting with the Premier today. We have 10 new cases of COVID-19 in the last 24-hour period. They are all locally acquired and are all household contacts that can be linked to the Indooroopilly Delta cluster. 5 cases are household contacts of Ironside State School cases. 3 are household contacts of Indooroopilly State High School cases. 2 are household contacts of Brisbane Boys Grammar School cases. 8 were not infectious in the community at all. 2 were infectious in the community for 1 day, and that was during the South East Queensland lockdown period. That brings to 89 the total number of cases in the Indooroopilly Delta cluster, and 1,897 total cases for Queensland, of which 132 remain active. We did 48,028 test samples in the last 24 24-hour period, which is also a very, very good result. So across the metrics that we're monitoring most closely, the number of cases, the fact that they are linked, the number of infectious days in the community and testing levels, this is a very, very encouraging set of results for the 24-hour period. We now have 8,594 people in home quarantine, and I saw them described this morning as lockdown legends. They are indeed Queensland's lockdown legends, keeping us all safe. Unfortunately, we've seen Victoria go back into lockdown just 7 days after their previous lockdown. That means that we will again apply the hotspot restrictions, reciprocating the Victorian arrangements, so that those arriving from Victoria after 1 a.m. Sunday will need to go into hotel quarantine. Yesterday was also a tragic day for New South Wales, and our hearts go out to everyone in the Greater Sydney area and New South Wales more generally battling the outbreak there. Unfortunately, police report some declining compliance with the mask requirements. If you think about where this outbreak spread, it has spread in places we didn't have masks, schools and in households. And that just underlines how valuable masks have been at controlling spread in other places. And so we really need everybody to comply with those mask wearing requirements. But generally, Queensland, you're doing an amazing job, You're getting tested, you're staying home, you're wearing your masks, you are doing the right thing. I've never been more proud to be a Queenslander than I am when I see these fantastic results. All the indications are that it's working. We just need to keep it up. It's too soon to say what will happen over the next few days and whether we'll be able to ease restrictions on Sunday. I think when you read those heartbreaking stories of parents caring for their children in hospital with COVID-19, it brings home just what it is we're trying to avoid. So the results so far are very, very promising. We need to continue to see low case numbers, all linked, declining infectious days in the community and a high rate of testing. And if we can keep that up, then we will be able to begin to ease these restrictions.
Thank you, Deputy Premier. Yes, this is very encouraging news that we only have those 10 cases. 5 of them are children, 5 of them are adults. They were all in quarantine at the time. They were all household contacts, and just those 2 people had each had 1 day infectious in the community while the community was in lockdown. So that's all very reassuring, but we've got to keep it up for the next few days. We're not there yet. So we genuinely need to keep doing what we've been doing so effectively. So please continue to come forward and get tested with any symptoms at all. We just have to find that first case. If we've got any new cluster happening, we need to know about it as soon as we possibly can. So that's critical. And please keep wearing masks. These have made an enormous difference. They really and truly have. With Delta, we know that it is when people are breathing and interacting, and it can take only seconds for that transmission to happen. So please, just keep wearing masks, keep coming forward and getting tested. Use that QR code so that if we do have any case, we can very rapidly get hold of everyone and get everyone into quarantine. It's those things that will keep us safe and enable us, hopefully, and I genuinely am hopeful that we'll be able to lift this on Sunday, but if we don't do all those things, it'll make it really difficult to lift Sunday. And then going forward, we're going to have to be incredibly cautious. We've seen what's happened in other states. We know that the Delta variant is a completely different variant to the ones we were dealing with last year. So I know it's very confusing for people, but we can't use the same strategies we used last year. We've really got to ramp them up. So thank you.
Well, this is great news for Queensland, and thank you to every Queenslander who's been doing the right thing and staying at home, going out and getting tested, and of course also coming out and getting vaccinated. To know that 8 of the 10 new cases today have been in the community for 0 days infectious is fantastic, and only 2 of the others had 1 day in the community infectious. But we need to make sure we continue to follow the rules. Stay home. If you are feeling unwell, go get tested. And, of course, go get vaccinated. And it's wonderful to keep hearing news that our GPs are seeing a surge on people wanting to come forward and talk to their GPs about getting vaccinated, and we strongly encourage them to do that. Of course, great news, we will see pharmacies, community pharmacies in southeast Queensland starting to come online today. We have a vaccine going to 113 community pharmacies in southeast Queensland with Queensland Government vaccine stocks of AstraZeneca and consumables that we're providing to them while they wait for their Commonwealth supply to arrive next week, which will see more community pharmacies coming online after that. I'm very pleased to say that shortly after this press conference, I will be going to one of those pharmacies to get my second dose of AstraZeneca. And I have to say, the feeling of knowing that I'm going to be fully vaccinated after this vaccine today, it just gives me that extra level of confidence and comfort in relation to this vaccine and this virus. So everyone, if you are thinking about when to get your vaccine, please, if you are 60 plus, go and get your AZ, go talk to your GPs. If you are under 60 and you've already had 1 dose of AZ, like I have, then you should be going and getting your second dose as soon as you hit the 8-week mark. Don't wait till 12 weeks now. Come forward and see if you can get your second dose as soon as possible. Yesterday, we did the second highest number of vaccinations in the country, in Queensland. So well done, Queenslanders. Well done to our state-run vaccination clinics, the Commonwealth clinics and our GPs for the great work they're doing. Think of what we're going to be able to do once we get the extra vaccine and the pharmacies come online. It's really exciting to know that our numbers continue to go up, and as of today, 38.19% have had their first dose across Queensland, and we're now at 19.95%. So we're almost at 20% of the Queensland population who are eligible to be fully vaccinated. That is fantastic news. In relation to the report on the Prince Charles investigation, I've been advised this morning by the Director General that Professor Griffin wrote to him last night and asked for an extension of 2 weeks to deliver that report. Of course, we are very eager to see that report and what learnings can be gained from that, but the Director General has advised that that extension is being granted, so we expect the report to be provided to the department on the 20th of August now. So again, stay safe, stay home, go get tested and get vaccinated. Thank you, Queensland.
Good morning. We increased our operational presence again yesterday, and I can say to the community, expect that to happen right up until our lockdown finishes, no matter when that is. We will stay very vigilant to make sure that people are doing the right thing. So out of the 3,445 vehicles intercepted in the points that we have in the southeast corner, we issued 20 penalty infringement notices. So that is a relatively low number, but nonetheless there's still some people that continue not to do the right thing. Overall, we issued 57 penalty infringement notices throughout the lockdown, and we arrested 2 persons, one of them being a person in Darling Downs district who on 3 occasions had been intercepted by police and continued to break the lockdown rules. So in the end we had no option but to put that person before the court. We dealt with 120 calls for service, and 216 businesses were visited, and there was no enforcement action taken whatsoever. I just want to finish off on masks, because I think that's the one area that you've already heard from the Chief Health Officer and the Deputy Premier is an area that we need to do a little better in. Yesterday we handed out the most masks ever, 302. So that means that those 302 people were not only not wearing masks, they weren't carrying them. And we did issue 10 penalty infringement notices. That is the simplest thing to do. Just carry a mask and wear it when you should, and we'll all be a lot safer. Thank you.
I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. So post Sunday, if it is lifted, what would the restrictions look like? How tight might they continue to be?
Well, it actually depends how we go the next few days as to what point we're at, and then the advice I'll provide. So it is a bit too early to say what will happen, but there will still be restrictions. There always are restrictions after we remove a lockdown. But the specifics of those restrictions, I just need to see how things track over the next few days.
When will you make a lockdown decision, and would you consider giving businesses a bit more notice than, say, Sunday morning?
I doubt it'll be before Sunday. I will want to see the numbers on Sunday morning. It's just too quick. We've only had the lockdown for 8 days. I'll need every single one of those days to be able to work through when and if we should lift that lockdown on Sunday afternoon.
Do you think masks will be linked to Christmas even if there aren't lockdowns?
It's possible, yes. Masks are just so critical with this Delta variant. They really and truly are. And it's an issue that if we want to try and avoid lockdowns, we're going to have to get used to wearing masks. Hopefully it won't be through till Christmas, but it could be.
What about under 12s wearing masks? There's not a belt of that yet, so is it possible?
Yes, education has already done a fantastic piece of work, and they've found and sourced masks that are smaller, that will fit smaller heads. So we are going to look at some pilot work with maybe the older children in primary school. We're just working that through. But people don't, there's very few places in the world that get children under 12 to wear masks. So we'll just work it through and see if it's beneficial and if we can do it.
What might be the youngest?
I don't know. It really depends. You think about it, it depends on the size of the mask and that it fits neatly on the face, and also that the children can keep it on. I mean, I've had young children and trying to get them to keep, hats on and all sorts of things. So we'll just work through those sorts of things. But it might end up being those older children in primary school. But we'll work it through. Nothing's decided at this stage.
Clarify, there's been some talk on social media about filming in Torture Valley and on Strategy. Is that allowed? Some of the locals aren't happy about it.
Yeah, and people, when it's essential work and they can't do it from home, they are able, as you all are today, to go and do their job.
This might be a question for the Minister. There have been some questions raised about the value of
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, well done, Queenslanders, and I think that is good news, but we need to keep it that way. And as was mentioned, that when we're looking at essential work, it is always subject to interpretation and what one person believes it to be. Well, right now we'll go to Victoria, as we've had the cases there have been. The lockdown again happening from tomorrow.
None of us want to be in a situation where we have to lock down again, but this Delta variant moves so fast that with even a handful of positive cases that can't be linked and that haven't been in isolation throughout their infectious period, there is no alternative for us but to listen to our public health experts, take their advice and make the decision, the very difficult decision that my Cabinet colleagues and I have just made on advice, and that is that Victoria will have to lock down again for 7 days from 8 p.m. tonight. 5 reasons to leave home, school closed, all the same reasons, all the same rules that we are well accustomed to, that we have used to our collective benefit, that we've used to crush outbreaks a number of times, even Delta outbreaks. But the fact of the matter is we have 8 cases, 6 reported this morning and 2 further cases on the board that would normally be reported tomorrow, and only 3 of those can be linked to a known outbreak. The rest we have to assume are what they appear to be, mystery cases, where we don't know how they got it, we don't know who they've given it to or how many people they've given it to. Now, nothing I say today is meant as a criticism of anyone else across our country, but context is very important. I want to make it very clear, we only get one chance to act fast. We only get one chance to make difficult decisions that are the right decisions. I'd much prefer to wait 2 or 3 days. I'd much prefer that we didn't have to make this decision now. But my fear is that if we were to wait a few days, and the advice to me from the experts is that if we were to wait even just a few days, there's every chance that instead of being locked down for a week, this gets away from us and we are potentially locked down until we all get vaccinated. And that's months away. Others are living that at the moment. Others are having to deal with that at the moment. We wish them well and we're supporting them, but we do not want that here. I am determined to do everything, popular or otherwise, to avoid that happening to us.
So there you are, ladies and gentlemen, up to date on Australian Indian Radio, and what's going to be looking like maybe on the weekend. We'll get you all the updates of everything that is happening, and we'll do a weekend roundup once again tomorrow. And don't forget that tomorrow we have Aapki Sehat with the doctor, the Indian Medical Association of Queensland. And of course, that today at 4 p.m. we have Migration Ka Safar with Suman Dua. So until then, it's goodbye from us.